Listen up, people. Manscaped have done it again. This time, it's the Chairman Pro, giving you a clean, close shave. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. The Chairman Pro has long-lasting battery life. And you use the code FTM20 and you will get 20% off of this product. Yes, people, big up. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're listening around the world. 12th man is back. Make sure you're doing me a favor. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. Make sure you're in tune with what's happening by clicking the notification bell so you know every time we are going live. And make sure you show Manscaped some love. Make sure you click the link in the description or go to manscaped.com and you will be able to get 20% off of their products by using FTM20, FTM20, and you'll get 20% off in time for Christmas. Big up to every single one of you that's joining nice and late this evening if you're in the UK, and of course across the world and across the globe. Once you hit the like and subscribe, it's time to get ready to talk about Mikel Arteta's press conference, some of the reaction from news of replacements potentially for EDU, and also some of the reaction today around injury news, I suppose, on the press conference that Arteta is talking about today. There's never anything that really comes out of them that is too shocking when it comes to Mikel Arteta. But I will say this, I think it is a must-win game, and I think he knows it is a must-win game. So we're going to talk about that. Big up to every single one of you that is in the chat this evening. Great to see you all here. Big up to Niffin. Big up to Pete, Nando, Shane. Big up to you. Also big up to Carol, who's also here. The Assembled is also here. And everybody else that's watching, either on catch-up or that's live, that not in the chat room. Look, we've got to talk about it. It's a horrible, horrible fixture. It's one we do not enjoy going to for nerves, but one that we've actually been okay when it comes to results-wise in the last few years. Stamford Bridge has been an okay place for us. It's never a game that we look forward to playing, but it's always one that we do kind of look at the fixture list when it comes out and think, when are we playing Chelsea then? Because Chelsea hate us, man. Let's just say it right. Chelsea hate us, and we don't particularly like Chelsea, right? That's just the way that it is. But I look at it and think that there's an opportunity for us to really give them a way of shutting them up. Is that the right word? I mean, they've not got much to shout about the way the last 2 years have gone, but Chelsea are always quite loud. I think they're looking forward to potentially coming up against us and giving us a battering. They think that the way we're playing is poor, and they're quite right to say that we're poor. But we need to shut them up, man. We need to bounce back. We need to win badly. And looking at the press conference, it looks as if Mikel Arteta knows that he has to really get this one right. So we're going to go through it. We are going to talk about the questions he was asked. We're going to go through some of his answers and what that might mean for the weekend's game. We're also going to look at the potential of the replacements of Edu, which, of course, he's not really going to go into too much. But there's obviously rumours and question marks about who might be taking over. And is it going to be a ex-player? Because there's a couple that are linked. So let's talk about the press conference. Let's bring it up. Let's go through it like we do and get a reaction from you guys. And then if you do want to ask any questions, please do make sure that you throw in a super chat and we can put it up on screen and talk about it. If you do want to ask a question that is not a super chat, please put a Q so I know it's a question. Big up to everyone. Now, let's go through what is a press conference that, let's be real, some of the questions he gets asked, by the way, is a madness. But Declan Rice, will he be available? It says, I have to be very vague on that one. There's no clarity on whether he's going to be fit for the weekend. That basically means ain't sure yet. There's rumours that he has a broken toe. What he said on that is that's for the doctor. What I can say is that he hasn't trained yet, and it is not clear whether he's going to be available or not to play. Let me make this very clear for everybody. I don't want to see Declan Rice playing if he's got a broken toe, people. That is the last thing I need, is to see a broken toe and Declan Rice rocking up for Arsenal. Because what does that mean? He's going to be playing for England with a broken toe. So let's just allow him to literally have some time off. Declan Rice is a player that has been played way too much. He is going to break. He's run more than any other Arsenal player. He's run more than any other England player. He's played more than any other England player. He's probably played more than every other Arsenal player as well. So for me, we need to look at Declan Rice and say, time to rest this weekend, Time to rest next weekend. Enjoy your 2 weekends off and come back fit and raring to go when your toe is better. That's what we need to be doing. If it's not a broken toe and he can play through it, then great. But let's just make sure he's fit first, right? I think we can get past through the midfield. We want Rice in it, but if he's not there, we can get through it, right? We've got Partey, Waneri, Erdegaard back. There's options, so let's just not panic too much. If Erdegaard could start, everybody that's in the squad is going to be fit and available to start the game. So then it will be a decision on whether it is too early or the right moment for him to make that step again. So Martin Erdegaard is a player that everybody wants to see. I thought it was a bit of a strange decision to bring him on for only 3 or 4 minutes against Inter Milan. Thought it was a bit pointless for him to take the trip there, if I'm honest with you. However, we've got him back now and it looks like he's fit. I think he'll start. I think if you look at what's happening right now in that midfield, he has to. If Trossard is starting in the 10, there's a lot of fans that are going to be very, very deflated when that team news comes out. And that's not because Trossard's a bad player. It's just because he hasn't been performing in that role. We have to be honest and real about it, right? Excuse me. So that's on Erdegaard. Havertz and Mikel Merino, they are both okay. Well, we'll have to wait until tomorrow to see how they react, he says. Kai had quite a nasty cut and he could not continue. And with Mikel, to be fair, the day before, he wasn't feeling great and we decided to sub him at half-time. Don't really know what he means by that. If someone's not feeling great and you take him off at half-time, not quite sure why he started, really, because he clearly didn't fancy him. And when he brought him on, I could not believe that it was Jesus who came on for him when he came off. I thought maybe Waneri might be sitting there thinking, when am I actually going to get a chance here? But that's that. Kai Havertz will be fine. I'm sure it was just a cut. There's no concussion. He'll just get wiped up and he'll be fine and he'll be ready to go. He definitely wants to play in this fixture, that's for sure. So I expect both of them to start, if I'm honest. I wouldn't play Merino, but I think he probably will. On whether he's had to lift the players after recent results, when you don't win, it affects the mood and energy. But the positive thing is that it's impossible that anyone in this room or outside wants to win more than I do. Now, look, that is a crazy thing to say. Did you have to lift the players after being down? No one wants to win more than me. Sorry? That's not what I asked you. I asked you, have you had to lift the players? And he's talking about himself again. Very bizarre. These guys in the dressing room want to do. I don't know what he's saying here, but anyway, today I had a meeting with them about it, and I can sense it straight away. What I sense as well is a big belief about how good we were as a team, and again, what we did in Milan. Watching it back twice, I hadn't seen my team doing that against them. What is he talking about here? Like, what the hell is he talking about? Is he proud of that performance in Milan? Because it was a shambles. But you need to take that into a winning football match, because in the end, that's the only thing anybody's going to judge, not how superior you were to the opponent. We weren't superior to Inter Milan. It was poor. We didn't have anything. We couldn't lay a glove on them, could we really? You outrun the opponent. Well, I mean, we can definitely do that. You don't get trophies for that, but you can run around more than the opposition team. What are we doing here? This is really nitpicking at trying to find positives, isn't it? We have a problem, and the problem has to be resolved by scoring more goals than the opponent. Wow. I mean, that is a Michael Owen quote, isn't it? If we score more goals than the opponent, we will win the game. Thanks, Mikel. I'm glad you're all with us, because we were totally confused otherwise. This is bizarre. You can tell he's feeling the pressure with some of these answers, can't you? I mean, what is he talking about here? This is absolute nonsense that he's saying. If we outscore the opponent, we might win the game. Nice one, Mikel. Nice one. Anyway, we move on. On whether he can use our similar experiences last season to go on a run. The results probably were very similar. Actually, they weren't. The football was very similar, but we were getting across the line in certain results. We were dropping points. I remember us dropping points at home to Fulham. I remember us dropping points in other games. Chelsea, I believe, was one of them. Newcastle, Aston Villa, we started to lose. So yeah, it was similar, but I think we're worse start now than we've had definitely in the last 2 seasons. But the context is very different, because you tend to forget why you lost a game against Bournemouth, or what happened when we didn't win against Liverpool, or the amount of situations we have had to go through. It does not matter in the end. We cannot go to Dubai for a week now like we did last time. We can go to Dubai still for 2 days. If that's the solution, we'll go forward and backwards. The team's doing 10 times more better things than we used to do at that period. It's a positive thing, but for all this to be clear and relevant, you have to win, especially to answer certain questions. Right. Again, not quite sure what he's talking about here. He was asked if you can use any experiences of last season, and he said we can't go to Dubai. Now, I understand that you need warm weather training and a break, but that doesn't mean that you should need that to win you a trophy this season. We can't go to Dubai, so we're going to have to try and do something else. I don't know what he means by you forget why you lost the game against Bournemouth. Well, I don't forget it. We were crap. Why we didn't win against Liverpool? Well, because we didn't go for the kill, Mikel. You told everyone to sit back. I don't get what he's talking about here. It's mad. He comes out at the press conference at the, post-match interview at Inter Milan saying the referee was a disgrace again. Like, stop blaming the referee. Look at yourself and your tactics and your players and the performances individually and the fact that you're still going with the same tactics and those still same players. Don't learn from Bournemouth or Newcastle or Liverpool, these games, and you're losing still. Come on, man. Whether this game is a must-win given the teams we're competing against, this is very interesting, especially because we have missed certain points in the last few weeks. The margins are becoming smaller and smaller. That doesn't mean the margin doesn't exist anymore, but more perfection is going to be demanded in the future. For sure, we want to win. We have to prepare, and we have to prepare to win it, and that's the only thing that's in our heads. Look, of course, we need to win this game, and he's basically saying there, yes, we must win this game. That's what he's basically saying. And that's what I believe he's saying anyway. So, look, that's the way we've got to do what we got to do, and that's win the game. Really impressed about Maresca and what he's done. But what they've done over a year with Pochettino the last 6 months was extraordinary. You could see the squad, the quality they have, the amount of players they have, and then Enzo's given his touch, and you can see clearly what he wants to do. I think he's been really brave from day one to consistently follow what he wanted to do, and I know he thinks. I know a lot of people. I know how he thinks, sorry. I know a lot of people that know him well. I'm very happy that he's making a lot of progress there. I think that's fair. I think Enzo Maresca's come to Chelsea, and let's be real, I think he's actually done a pretty remarkable job to clear out what he doesn't want, keep what he wants very quickly, have a clear mindset, get them into a shape and style, and at least have some form of structure. And I actually think Chelsea are 3 players away from competing for the title. Not winning it, but competing for it. And that's a striker, that's a centre-back, and that's a goalkeeper. They go and sign Diogo Costa in goal, Diamande at centre-back, and Osimhen up top. I think they've got a great opportunity of doing very well. I'll say that. On being behind Chelsea on goal difference, and if that could be important later in the season, everything's important. We don't know if we're going to get to the last day when goal difference would be important, but it's certainly something to bear in mind. Goal difference is always important for me. It's not important until you get to the last few games, but you want to be in the mix to say, look, we've got 8 goals extra. I remember last season looking at Manchester City, and it was really, really close. Goal difference was so close. I mean, we're talking a couple of points here. And I remember that Tottenham game thinking, yeah, the only reason that Tottenham can actually do us a favour here if they win is because of our goal difference. And then City wouldn't have been able to catch us even if they would have won by quite a lot of goals. So we would have actually been in a great opportunity there. So it can become definitely, for sure, goal difference, very important. How to handle the threat of Cole Palmer? Well, there are a lot of rumours suggesting that he is a doubt, but a lot of people suggest that he probably will be fit to play. He says that's a question that probably all managers in the league have had in the last year or so. He's still managed to impact games in the right way. Obviously, we'll have to have a plan, not only for Cole, but to minimise all the quality and threats they have and try to exploit their weaknesses like any other team. If the title race is over, if we don't win on Sunday, I don't think about that. Well, to be honest with you, Mikel, that's a lie. You do think about that because you think about winning the title. So you must know that if we lose this game, we will be 10 points behind Liverpool if they win, and 8 points behind City if they win. Now, we were 8 points clear of Manchester City 2 years ago and could not win the league. Imagine being 8 points behind them and 10 behind Liverpool, who remind me very much of Arsenal in that 22-23, who just kept winning and everyone said, they'll lose soon, they'll lose soon. Then they did. They lost to Nottingham Forest. If you remember, we lost at Old Trafford and everyone said, they're still looking good though. They'll go on a run. Who else they got next? And we kept beating teams. That's what Liverpool are doing right now. They're not playing anywhere near as scintillating. They're not playing any better than us. But they do remind me back then. Nobody had them flying ahead like this. So it is quite similar to how we were back then. They asked on if the team has needed a reset. We don't need a reset, he says. We need in one particular aspect to go from 95 to 100. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. So that basically means that he needs to make a change, and he's going to. And that's probably the only thing in that press conference so far that you look at and think, thank God. He's clearly going to change something, because there's no way we can be lining up in these games flinging everybody into the box, waiting for Saka to deliver to someone and hoping that someone gets on the end of it. That is not a style of play. That is something that you use in your last 10, 15 minutes of a game if you're struggling. That's not the way to play 90 minutes of football. And unfortunately, we have become set piece FC. We have relied on crosses and set pieces and free kicks and corners. That is not something that I like. So if I'm honest with you, him saying that fills me with confidence that he might actually look to change something. He was asked on why it's difficult to be consistent in the Premier League. Everyone's been consistently struggling with the level that there is in this league and in general in Europe, playing every 3 days at this level. Temperatures going up another level, levels going up another level, and to win would require perfection. It's very tough, but this is the task. I don't think you have to be perfect. I'm sorry. There's no team in the league or in the world that are perfect. Otherwise, everybody would be on 114 points at the end of the Premier League season. What it's about is showing consistency and passing the tests that he's talking about. And at the moment, we're failing them. And we need to start passing a few more because it's not good. He was asked on if the margins are getting smaller between Premier League clubs. I think so, yes. I agree with that. I do think that this season is a lot tougher than the last and the one before that. I do believe that teams are getting stronger, that you can go to Brighton now and lose. You can go to Bournemouth now and lose, as City and Arsenal have done. I don't think years ago when we were at Highbury, we ever really went to a game and thought, wow, we've just lost to Wolves at home. Or, wow, we've gone to Portsmouth away and lost. Like, that didn't happen very often. It was like a one-off. Now we're starting to see it happening 2-3 weeks in a row where big teams are losing to smaller teams. And that just shows that there is a level of competitiveness that is becoming a hell of a lot stronger now. So I agree with him on that. If clubs need bigger squads to cope with injuries, this is a really interesting one. With actual regulations, I think it's very difficult. If we play every 3 days, it's going to be a necessity, that's for sure. So I actually do believe that we should have a stronger, bigger squad. And I think that there should be an allowance of up to 35 members of the team that could be registered now, because you're playing such big games and the international stage is getting bigger as well. So it's not just using 4 competitions in your local leagues. It's actually looking at the club level and international level as a collect, because the Nations League, the World Cup, the Euros, friendlies, qualifiers, on top of Champions League games, playoff games, more playoffs now in the new format of the Champions League, more games in the playoff and the Champions Leagues, or the new format of the Champions League, League Cup games, FA Cup replays, 2 legs in the semi-finals of the League Cup, plus 38 games. Wow, that's a hell of a lot, right? And we've got a squad of 22, 6 of which have very, very, very bad injuries and are injury-prone players. 4 that are not very injury-prone but have been added to that 6 that are always injured. Means we've really had 12 players to pick from this season. That is not good. Not good when you're going for all 4 competitions. But look, we're still in all 4 competitions. Some people wouldn't believe it, the way that people are talking, but we are. We just need to make sure that we're in a position that we are good enough to go all the way. How squad members he'd like to have, or how many he'd like to have, it's not about the number, the quality of that squad. That's going to be the key. It's not just about a number. You can have numbers from all kinds of players. It's about the quality. So basically he's saying it's quality, not quantity. And he basically wants 22 quality players, not 35 that 10 are not so quality, I think is what he's saying. Let's be real. It's mad. On if Martin can fix our attack. We're demanding that, but it's not very realistic. It's about the collective, every player taking ownership. We are demanding that, but it's not very realistic. If Martin can fix our attack. So we're demanding Martin to fix our attack, but we don't believe he can because it's not very realistic. Like, he's got to choose his words better there, isn't he? Because that's just an insult to Martin Odegaard, and it also is an insult to everybody else. On if Martin, well, we hope that Martin can because he's the only player we've got, but it's not very realistic because everyone around him's no good. Doesn't sound very good, does it? It's about the collective, every player taking ownership with what we have to do in attack and doing it better and more consistently. But certainly having a player like Martin helps because he's shown how important he's been for us in the last 3 or 4 years. On if Martin could join the Norway squad, let's see how he goes, how he trains. He's available, he's fit. If he does play, it's about how he's feeling after that. And then we'll make the decision between the 3 parties. Look, he cannot go to the international break. We do not need him out there. We do not need him out there. Rice and Odegaard need to stay here. If I had my way, I'd let Saka stay here as well. He's just got to be brutal and ruthless now. He's just got to say, look, Martin and Declan have both played against Chelsea. They're not feeling well. They're going to have to pull out of the squad. It's a Nations League that nobody cares about, right? Nobody cares about. He was asked if Martin has helped the squad while he's been unavailable. He's always very close, very active with the team, knows the role and responsibilities that he has. He's tried his best, but obviously not having him in the squad in the team on the outside of us on many occasions is different. I think on that issue, especially when we talk about motivation, there's no issues at all. Look, I believe that Martin Ødegaard has been missed, whether you believe it or not in terms of results. Some of the games we have won, you might not look at that and think, oh, Ødegaard, we didn't miss him today. Well, actually, we did. We always miss Martin Ødegaard, but for me, I think he's one of our best players. He's the leader. He's the captain. He leads by example. He leads by the press. Definitely miss that. Don't think we press anywhere near as much when he's not on the pitch. His leadership qualities are one thing, but his technical ability is another. His vision, weight of pass, his creativity, the way that he sees what no one else can see on the pitch. I think at times he opens up chances that like nobody else can in the team. And I think he is a massive, massive miss when he's not there. Is it too simplistic for the team to click with him back? We hope he's going to help. He's been incredibly good for us, and the impact he has on the team, not only in that phase, but in other phases, are also linked to the attacking phase, especially the way we transfer one to another. He's been out for a while. Let's hope that it's going to be a very fast and that he can impact the team. Look, he will be a massive, massive plus. If we can get him back in the side, we have a chance. So, yeah. We need to be able to look at how we win games without players like Martin Ødegaard, because I don't think he's done that very well, Mikel Arteta. He's gone through Martin Ødegaard and we haven't really seen a replacement. He's been reluctant to use Ethan Nwaneri and been too stubborn with sticking with Trossard. Previously, before he used Rob Holding, when, let's be real, he should have used other players around him, and that was to replace Saliba. We've still never really been able to replace Saka, and when Saka wasn't there for Bournemouth, we wasn't looking too good. And when he wasn't there for whatever game it was, we didn't look good, right? So there's definitely got to be an improvement there. Saka, Saliba, and Rice and Ødegaard, I would say, are the ones that we struggle to replace. We need to find solutions for that in January and the summer, that's for sure. That's on top of getting a striker, by the way. Lots to do. On if anyone can reach 100 points this season and if the standards are different, 100 points, I just don't see Centurions happening for a long time yet. I think it's going to be very difficult, he says. We don't know how it's going to play out. If there's a team that's able to do something like this, everyone's struggling, even if they're winning. That's the thing. Sometimes the margins you can feel they're bigger in games. They're not at the moment. I haven't seen a team being that superior to others. But in the end, the fact is you have to continue to win and find ways and details to keep the right to win the games. He keeps talking about finding a way to win, and it just worries me that we are going to continue to play this 1-0, 2-1, finding a way to win. I don't like that, really, if I'm honest, because there's always a risk that unless you're an inexperienced manager like Simeone or Conte or Mourinho that does it, yeah, when you don't do it, you don't look very good because you're basically playing shy football and losing 1-0 or drawing 0-0. He was asking the importance of togetherness. He says that's the joy of this team. You're going there this morning thinking how they're going to feel after that and what we will talk about. And they're paying attention. They're hungry. They want to do more. Whatever we can do, it's unbelievable. The desire we have, the togetherness, it's just a joy to work with them, which we knew about, to be fair. Their togetherness, the squad looked together, to be fair. I'm not really too bothered by that. On travelling away supporters, the fans are incredible. The way they follow and support the team. Unfortunately, in the last two, we haven't had the chance to bring the victory with us. So a London derby is a good place to do that. Our away record and what it's done down to, there are other things, level of opposition that we have played because nobody has played the away games that we've played this season. Certainly not in the condition of playing half of those games with 10 men. Nobody in the league has. Okay, some of that is true. Some of that is him throwing his toys out the pram again. I don't get this with Mikel. I don't know why he does that. Why can't he just remain professional? Oh, we've had it tough. No one else has. Everybody's got to play the same games. Everyone's got to play each other twice. I totally appreciate that there has been a scheduling problem with Arsenal's first part of the season. And I think that's what he's getting at there, I think. We haven't played half of our games with 10 men. We've had 3 of them. We've had 11 games, and 10 games, sorry. So we haven't played half of them with 10 men. Nobody in the league has had it as tough as us. Well, I think if you throw in the Atalanta and Inter Milan games away, it's made it even tougher. But we have gone to every away ground now in the top half of the table other than Liverpool at Anfield. That is it. But we've got tough games. You know, we've got to go to Forest, the City Ground. We've got to go to West Ham. We've got to go to Fulham. We've got to go to Brentford. All these guys, Palace, all these games, none of them are easy. It's not like, oh, great, you know, these are a breeze and walk in the park now because we played everyone else. We're only 10 games in. We're very, 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 very long way to go. What system we could adopt with Martin returns? had a lot. We have had to adapt a lot of things this season because we have a lot of injuries and a lot of situations, especially in the back line and midfield. So that's something that the team's learning as well and adapting to. A lot of times it's worked really well. Other times something's missing because it's going to be different. But the team definitely has the capacity to do that. If I compare how we play against Porto and Bayern and the way we played against Inter in the Europe, there's no comparison whatsoever. But in 10 or 20 aspects of the game and having everything, all the post-match reviews after that is very clear. The thing is that you need the result at the end. Look, okay, let me just stop there because it's getting silly now. We have been absolutely shambolic away in Europe. I mean, seriously, like, I've never seen our record this bad in Europe. We have lost every away game and haven't scored a goal in the last 4. And I think they are Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, Atalanta, didn't score. Yes, we didn't score against Inter Milan, didn't score against Atalanta, didn't score against Bayern, didn't score against Porto. Have I missed any? That's terrible, isn't it? That is a shambles. Absolute shambles. Now, we've got to do better in Europe. We really have to. And then lastly, how Waneri and Zinchenko change the dynamic when they come on. I mean, someone's actually asking this. He says, I think it was a bit different, the state of the two games. One, because we lost control at Newcastle, and there are certain spaces that I believe those two players were ideal for, but we never got any momentum. With Inter, it was a bit different and a bit better. I think it was. Well, it was better than Newcastle, actually. I'll give you that. I think we need to understand how we can change games, right? I'm not interested in listening to any more of that waffle. There were some horrendous questions at there towards the end. It really needed to kind of end that press conference, didn't it? Let's just be real. We were shambolic against Newcastle, and we weren't much better against Inter Milan. Play like that in either of those games against Chelsea, we will lose. It is that simple. Let's take some questions. This one's a super chat, so it goes first. Suj, my guy, absolute legend. Pleasure to meet you last night on Lee's channel. Come on, people, hit the like and subscribe. Thanks for having me on the show yesterday. You're absolutely welcome. I think teams are starting to find us out on set pieces now. Set pieces are a part of the game, but they shouldn't be the only way you play football. That's the way I look at it. There's no way that I can look at the way that we play and think that is a good style. I don't think it's a style. I think it's poor. And we need to get better. We need to start looking at and understanding how we get back to the 22-23 Arsenal, because that was scintillating. It was brilliant to watch. So that's what I want to be seeing. A few questions before we do move. The Assembled says, does anyone know how Rice got injured? It's a mystery. No one seems to know. I think it was in training or in one of the games. He's had his toe stamped on. There's rumours that he's got a broken toe. So that's all I do know. He's also asking how Arsenal knew how the fixtures were this season. They're completely underprepared, even without injuries. Thoughts, if any? Look, you're right. Chris Hudson made a great point today. He said we played unbelievable amount of games. We went to the Euros. England and Spain got to the final. A lot of our players played in either the semis or the final, and we did nothing about it in the summer transfer window. And unfortunately, that has come to bite us in the backside. Everybody said, oh, well, don't worry about Odegaard getting a cover for him because he never gets injured. Oh, Odegaard's injured. We don't have to worry about Rice because he plays all the time. Oh, he got injured and sent off. Don't have to worry about Saka because he's got injured as well. So for me, the players you must look to cover for are Saliba, Saka, Odegaard, and Rice. And this time, this season, finally, the 3 of them have got injured, or 3 out of the 4 have got injured. So it's not good. It's not good. Chaitanya, big up to you, my bro. Much appreciated, as always. He says, big up, Dan. Problem all comes down to how serious we are in the transfer window. We need ruthless management. Do you think we'll sign a striker in January? I do not think we'll sign a striker in January, but we simply must. We simply must. It's mad, isn't it, to think that there's an opportunity that we might not yet again sign a striker. It's crazy. It really just is absolutely madness now. Mega has asked, is ROSICKY getting Edu's job? Let's talk on that now, because there are rumours that Edu's replacements are being looked at. And at the moment, there are some ex-players that are being spoken about. Let's go through some of the rumours, shall we? Because there are quite a few. Today, for those that didn't see the show, myself and Chris, This morning, there was some rumours that West Ham's technical director could be the one we're looking at. And West Ham are fearing that their technical director, Tim Steidten, could be in the running to replace Edu at Arsenal. Arsenal were going to take their time before deciding how to replace Edu, and the club are adamant it will not affect the way they operate, as they already have a strong executive team. He's been responsible for signings at West Ham, such as Todibo, such as Max Kilman, Paqueta, Kudus, certainly Fulkrug and Somerville this summer, which people thought were good signings, along with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But in the past, he's been really highly tipped, selecting players and scouting players and being responsible for players such as Xabi Alonso, Kevin De Bruyne. So he's been around the game. He knows what he's doing. He's a player that, he's a footballing man that seems to have quite a good reputation. However, there's quite a lot of West Ham fans that aren't a massive fan of what he's done so far, I was hearing today. So would that be a good move? I certainly prefer him to an ex-player, that's for sure. But I think there's better that we can get. Then the news came in from this morning or around about this afternoon, talking about how Arsenal have launched their recruitment process to find a new sporting director to replace Edu. And they say that the club particularly appreciate the profiles of both Per Mertesacker and Tomas Rosicky, and have already initiated discussions with the latter, meaning Tomas Rosicky. Now, he is currently the sporting director at Sparta Prague, who sit 11 points off of Slavia Prague. It is not the sort of appointment I would say that would excite me, and I'll tell you why. Not just because Mertesacker and Rosicky are just clubmen that know the club and stuff, but they're kind of a yes men to Mikel. They played alongside him. They were always going to be, yeah, we'll back you, Mikel. We'll be with you, Mikel. You're our captain, Mikel. Now you're our leader, Mikel. We need someone to sit alongside him that's going to question him. That's definitely going to say, I challenge you on that. What are we doing? That's what I do. There's no experience there. I loved Rosicky as a player. Absolutely loved it. One of my favourites in the Emirates era. But come on. Let's just be real. Is he really the right man? And there's, of course, thoughts from Arsenal fans about Per Mertesacker and Tomas Rosicky both being teammates or formerly of Mikel Arteta to replace Edu. Not sure that's the right thing to be doing. A couple of bits on Declan Rice and Martin Ødegaard that we've seen here that we just literally discussed. And then what else have we got after that? There was something else. Here we go. Arsenal believe that finding the right sporting director and putting them in positions could realistically take a year to do. Take a year. If that person has to serve a notice period in the present role, it will take a year. Wow. The club are highly unlikely to consider a former player for the role. So Gary Jacob is suggesting that Tomas Rosicky and Per Mertesacker are highly unlikely to be going over to see what the sporting director role entails at Arsenal, because we may be looking at more experience. I pray that we are. It could take a year, that's for sure. If it is somebody that we want, if it was Tim Steidten, maybe it'd take that time. Maybe you'd have to give notice. There is somebody in and around that would be kind of interested, maybe, that isn't in a job. I don't know. But if there's someone in the role, maybe it could take that long. For now, there's players that are taking over from Edu. There's a not a player, sorry. His name's Ailto, somebody like that. He's taken over for now of interim role until we get somebody in. But Marco Nepp would be good from the previous guy at Bayern. He's not got a job at the moment. He was responsible for bringing Harry Kane to Bayern Munich, and he's done quite well with Musiala and other signings that they've made. So he would be probably quite good. There was a lot of links and rumours to the Bologna sporting director. I'm not going to try and butcher his name, but he was being rumoured as being interested as well the other day. So there's definitely been some rumours. This one did make me laugh, though. These are the most assists in Europe's top 5 leagues. Look who's top. Nuno Tavares at Lazio. He is balling out over there. I remember he did this when he went to Marseille on loan, if you remember, for a while. And then he just dived and went down. Look, I'm sure Nuno Tavares is a good left winger. He is not a left back. That is for sure. But big up to him. And I hope that he does do well over there. That's for sure. Okay, there we go. Let's stop sharing the screen there. We go into the Chelsea game with a little bit of fear. And it's only because of the way that we're playing. It's not because we believe that we're going to get hammered. It's not because we believe Chelsea are too good. It's because of our form. But with an 11 that's fit, I think we can beat them. We all know Ray is going to play. It's going to be White and Timber at fullbacks with Gabriel and Saliba. Across the front three, it's going to be Saka, Havertz and Martinelli. It's all on the midfield. If everyone's fit, I would play Partey, Rice and Odegaard. If Rice and Odegaard aren't fit, I would play Partey, Nwaneri and Trossard. Yeah. It wouldn't be Merino for me. What do I think it will be? I think the team will be Partey, Merino and Trossard. And I think Odegaard and Nwaneri will be subs. Rice, I don't think will make this one. If he's broken his toe, which sounds like he has, he ain't going to make this one, and he'll be out for England as well. So I don't expect to see Rice on Sunday. Odegaard, I think if he does start, then I think if he's fit, he starts. But if he's fit and Arteta's still not sure with Norway coming around the corner, I think he might just bring him on and say he's still not ready to go away. So I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen in this one. Sterling isn't available. So subs that he'll have to be potentially bringing on are Nwaneri, Jesus, Trossard or Martinelli, depending on who he does play, Merino or Odegaard, depending on who he does play. Jorginho will be there potentially. Zinchenko will be there. There's only really Tomiyasu and Calafiori now and Rice that are going to be out. And then when the international break goes and we come back from international break, we'll have a fully fit squad. Unless, touch wood, fingers crossed, and I pray that no one else gets injured, because I do not want to be seeing anybody else getting injured. It's absolutely mad. It really is. Okay, let's take a look at some questions to close before we come into a prediction. Where are we? Got some questions here that I did see. I don't want to miss many. Here we go. Nippon says, hey, Dan, previously said in one of your videos during the summer that if we lose Odegaard, we'll be in big trouble. We had to sign Olmo, Eze or Xavi Simons, regardless of how and when Harry gets on. Look, listen, bro, I'm with you. And I said that I wanted Eze. I wanted Eze and Gyökeres. They were the two I wanted. And I was cold. I was negative and toxic. But there we go. What do I know? The Assembled. Is it true that Arteta will have a say in who comes in as the sporting director? Surely that's a negative. I don't know if it's a positive or a negative at the moment, because his decision-making has never really been at this level. Mikel Arteta has always said what goes on in the pitch. Now that he's being asked to have full control, I just think it's absolute madness from the Cronkies. It's literally them saying, we'll give you a load of money, we'll give you who you want, and just we're going to be in America. You make the decisions. You say who you want, we'll bring them in. Nah, it ain't good, man. It really is not good. So yeah, that's what I am looking at personally. Let's come down to more questions. Wes Bird says, Dan, what must not happen is if for Arteta to take that role as well as managing. Disaster, in my opinion. That happened with Wenger, and ultimately it meant he became very blinkered and didn't evolve enough. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that if you be giving him full power, you're basically allowing him to be a mini Wenger, which is what everybody didn't want, right? So, I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. Look, if TOMAS ROSICKY is coming in, I worry because he's going to be a yes man to Mikel. If we get someone with experience, I think it's definitely the step forward. We bring somebody in that's done what's happened at Brighton, or if we look at the recruitment team, at how Dortmund or Benfica run, I think that for me is the sort of club you want to be looking at. Even Ajax, how they recruit, how they scout, who they bring into the club, and how they sell, how they buy players. That's what's needed. We need someone who knows what he's doing there, because Mikel doesn't. That's for sure. Big up to every single one of you, man. Please do me a favor. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you show manscaped.com some love. Use the code FTM20, FTM20, and you will get 20% off. For Christmas, make sure you go and get the shavers. Make sure you go and get, if you do want beard trimmers, you can get beard trimmers. If you do want the actual shaver, there's a brilliant shaver called the Chairman Pro at the moment, which I'm promoting for the channel. Make sure you go and get that for your Christmas present or for somebody else for Christmas, and show them some love as well. I'll be back over the weekend for more talk on Arsenal. Take it easy. We'll see you next time. And as always, people, up the Arsenal. Layers. Listen up, people. Manscaped have done it again. This time, it's the Chairman Pro, giving you a clean, close shave. The Chairman Pro is waterproof. The Chairman Pro has long-lasting battery life. And you use the code FTM20 and you will get 20% off of this product.